Hey guys, my computer just stuck on this.
Texas Chainsaw 3D is a direct sequel to the original 74 film, and finally, 2018's Leatherface is a prequel to the original that maintains continuity with the 2018 3D. Did you get all that? If not, don't worry. There will be plenty of time for review as we spend the next 2 months with this series, during which you'll see a bunch of different Leatherfaces, a whole bunch of people jumping through windows, and some familiar A-list actors along the way. But before all that craziness, we have the original. Co-written and directed by Tobe Hooper, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre has a certain reputation that it honestly doesn't deserve. Because I'm sure when you hear the name, you think stereotypical super bloody slasher, right? This movie is not that. Not at all. It's decidedly tame when it comes to gore, and to be honest, it's more of an art house film than a Friday the 13th type slasher. In fact, this movie is the subject of so many academic and analytical reviews that Chelsea devoted an entire episode of the Deadly Podcast to it earlier this week. Do yourself a favor and check it out, since the kill count only provides jokes and some behind-the-scenes info. The podcast is where you'll get the fancy intellectual stuff. Going into this movie for the first time, you should probably set your expectations accordingly. The first half is surprisingly slow-paced, focusing mostly on setting the tone and relishing in Daniel Pearl's gorgeous cinematography. When things finally explode in the final act, it's not a hack-and-slash kill fest, but rather a soul-crushing nightmare of depravity at the hands of this franchise's bedrock, the sadistic Sawyer family. For those of you unfamiliar with the franchise, you may be surprised. Learn that it revolves around a family of cannibals. During the series, we'll see the Sawyers go through half a dozen iterations, always changing family members and often changing their names. But the one consistent element of these movies, and the boy that you've all been waiting to see, is the chainsaw-wielding, simple Leatherface. He's sometimes scared and confused, other times a bit more outright mean. And at one point, we'll even see him fall in love. But most of the time, Leatherface is a bit less evil than other killers like Michael or Jason, because he's usually being taken advantage of and ordered around by the rest of his much more malicious family members. Now, with all that table setting out of the way, let's finally start the meal and get to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre's kills. The movie begins with the title Crawl, read by Night Court's John Larroquette in his first ever role.
For them, an idyllic summer afternoon drive became a nightmare.
It implies that the movie was based on true events, and although some aspects of Leatherface and his family were loosely based on Ed Gein, the butcher of Plainfield who would make furniture out of stolen corpses, the plot of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is entirely fictional. After establishing the setting of the summer of '73, we see flashbulb pictures of a crime scene with a sound effect that would come to be iconic. It seems to great effect here, which will not be the case in some of the sequels. The crime scene snapshots lead into a strangely beautiful long shot of a desecrated corpse in a cemetery, as a radio broadcast reports a recent spree of unsolved grave robbings near the fictional town of Newt, Texas. This intro is all very understated and eerie, as is the title card and the opening credits. Like, seriously, is that the friggin' sun? What does that mean? It feels like I'm back in film school, but in a good way. We come out of all that onto an armadillo in Texas. Huh, I always thought it was pronounced Amarillo. Driving down these Texan roads is a van full of youngsters, and this 30-year-old Disco Stew-looking dude who's pretending that he's still in his 20s. Don't worry, buddy, I can relate. Horror's first ever final girl, Sally Hardesty, is traveling to her grandfather's grave to make sure it hasn't been robbed as part of that spree the radio was talking about. While a local takes her to check on it, her wheelchair-bound brother Franklin has to hang back and listen to an old-fashioned horror harbinger of doom.
I see things.
Oh yeah, what do you see, Val? Besides the bottom of that bottle. On the way to their old family home, the kids pass a slaughterhouse where Franklin says their grandpa used to work. He goes into detail about the cattle killing procedures to this dude Kurt and his girlfriend Pam, who's the kind of gal who'll ask you what your sign is 5 minutes after she beats you.
Saturn's a bad influence. It's just particularly a bad influence now because it's in retrograde.
They see a hitchhiker on the side of the road and decide to pick him up because it's too damn hot for a person to be just walking around here. The hitchhiker, played with a terrifying unstableness by Edwin Neal, says his whole family works in the meat industry. And inside his little neck knapsack, he's got the pictures to prove it. Those are, yeah, real nice guy. He ends up grabbing Franklin's pocket knife right out of his hand and uses it to cut himself, all while some wonderfully jolly music plays on the radio. Aren't road trips the best? Edwin Neal's memorable performance as the hitchhiker was modeled after his nephew, who was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. Though, as he noted in an interview about it, his nephew was never once violent. Lots of horror movies, this series especially, use people with abnormal psychologies as villains. But it's always important to remember that in real life, those people are more often victims than perpetrators of violence. The hitchhiker takes a picture of Franklin and tries to force him to buy it.
$2. It's a good picture.
But when the kids say no thanks, he gets upset and lights the picture on fire with some gunpowder. As if that wasn't bad enough, he then takes out a straight razor and cuts Franklin's arm with it. That finally gets them to pull over and kick the hitchhiker out, and the kids drive away as he marks their van with his blood and blows raspberries in their wake. You kids should have been more careful. You're living in a post-Charlie Manson world here. They pull up to a gas station / barbecue joint and ask the proprietor if he knows where they can find their old family home.
You boys don't want to go mess around no old house?
You know, dude, you don't know where I want to mess around. The station is out of gas, though, so the only things they leave with are a bag full of barbecue and